Good morning. I'm live from Costa Mesa, California, and this is your Namaste today. Good morning, my friends, and Namaste. And welcome to Namaste Today and the Zodiac Weather. My name is Stepº Witecki. I call myself the Sensei to Sirius Joy. I'm here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. It's a pleasure to be joined by you again. Thanks, everyone, for the nice compliments. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the suggestions. Thank you for sharing with each other. And thank you for showing up and being you. I'm Lovecasting live today in 5 dimensions in the beautiful Temple of Gaia for Tuesday, May 19th, 2015. And today is a very strong day. Step 28 rules the day. Now, in the step astrology, which is what I have uncovered in my life, step 28 is the Grandmaster step of Taurus. So anyone who's born on a step 28 day is a Grandmaster Taurus. That means they can pretty much manifest, closing their eyes. They just manifest by who they are in a very grand way. But everyone, every month goes through a step 28 day, and this is the day when you emotionally commit. But I'm going to say today we're going to commit to the interim. I'll explain why in just a little while, but I think we are committing to the interim. That's not to say to not commit today. No, indeed do. What you are manifesting today in Taurus, whatever it is in your life, whether it's a relationship or a business or a new direction or a new home or a family addition or any of these things, it's significant and it's going to stay around for a while. What I'm here to tell you is that the shape of the building you're building, where it's being planted, maybe some of the zoning laws, that may change, and I'll explain a lot of that in today's Cosmic Clock. But before we dive into the architecture of today's incarnation, let's first tame our brain, shall we, with the phrase of the day. Today I feel my truth, and I commit to my truth, and so it is. Today I feel my truth, and I commit to my truth, and so it is. So what you're doing here in your mind, which is a very powerful part of our consciousness, the modern age gives the mind too much credit, in my opinion, but yet it is very powerful. That's why I always do some sort of direction of what to tell the smartass each day, which is our mind. It's just the part of us that wants to smart off and be smart all the time. Well, smartass, think about this. Today I want you to think about feeling our truth. So we want to be mindful of feeling our truth. You may go, well, what's our truth? Your truth is what your heart says yes to. So, whatever your heart says yes to, that is your truth. That is what you sit with. That is what you keep your emotional feelings on today. Keep your feelings on your truth, because that's what you're committing to, is what's true. Not a particular detail, not a particular vendor, not a particular person. You are committing to a truth inside of you, and when you commit to that, you are committing to the seed, the magic bean that will always create what you want, right? So it's very important, in my opinion, and in my research with human manifestation, which is one of my topics I just love to look at, is that the seed has to be correct. And the seed does begin with word. So today I feel my truth, and I commit to that truth, no matter where it is or how it manifests. And so it is. Because I said so, I thought so. Now the serious step of the day is step 28, and the way this builds out is our feelings, which is 2, I feel, add up to our conclusions and our decisions. So our feelings hit a wall, basically. And what happens is, as soon as your feelings hit a wall, well, things start to bubble up, and certainly the value begins to rise, and that is manifestation. That becomes a 10, I manifest. And I manifest is when we love and protect something, basically, and keep filling it with love, the world will basically Photoshop that into our existence, okay? So today we are doing the purebred step. Today's commitment is a big step in the sand, so to speak, of Earth, where we are saying, this is where I love, this is where I trust, and so it is. Universe, fill this 0 in the 10 up with a replica of me, 1. A law of reflection of me, 1. So it goes from the 10 to the 1, right? Very interesting stuff. So looking at the architecture of incarnation, 8 is what Capricorn rules. It's a Saturn-ruled energy. And so this is where Capricorns end up ruling things. So if you're wondering where Capricorns take control in life, it's at one of these 3 dimensions. They're helping you make a decision in the very first act, right, in the first dimension. So they're right there to help you make a decision, like, you know what you might want to do, right? That's Act 1, Dimension 1. In the second dimension, these, they are right by the side of the manifestation. The 8, the decision energy, is right there to decide what goes forward and what doesn't, what we act on and what we don't. So whether or not the army proceeds forward, whether or not the factory turns on, this decision is an 8. And here we are in the final decision. This final decision is in what we replicate over and over and over, right? So when you commit to it at this point, when your emotions are committed here in the third dimension, this is what the universe keeps Xeroxing and Xeroxing. And you can see this in reality if you study how things unfold. Watch how people get excited about something like a political campaign. They get excited, then their sister gets excited, then he gets excited. Emotions multiply. So when you have emotions that are dedicated to a certain outcome, 8, you create a manifestation, a shape of what you want. So let's take a look at the chakras spinning today and the colors involved so we can maximize our manifestations.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
And here we are with the ruling chakras. Well, as you well know, orange, orange, orange is what it's all about right now. We climb up the chakras as we go through the year. Red was Aries, and 10 is I manifest, which is orange. So we're in orange, and today we're going to come back to orange. You're going to see it's all about the orange today, which is what we are loving and trusting from our gut, from our center, from our solar plexus, right? So when you love and trust from your solar plexus, if you don't believe in any of this mumbo-jumbo about chakras, no problem. Love and trust from your gut, from your solar plexus, and focus on that, right? And any bull will tell you, you know what I mean, that you just stand in the pasture and you keep chewing your curd until something changes. You know what I mean? And it does, actually. So we start in the I manifest. Then we move up to the 20s, which means where it's a passion and ordeal. There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of energy, and that's flying through the yellow. So ground your emotions, do some breath work in through the front and out through the back, 3 and 3 if you can. Then we move up to indigo. Indigo is actually where our I decide energy comes from. The front of our third eye is the vision quest of us, the Sagittarius step 3, but the back of the third eye, which basically points the vision in one way or another, right, is step 8. So this is where Capricorn actually does control us. And actually, if you've ever been married to a Capricorn, which I have, Capricorns do control in the sense they go, would you like the red one or the blue one? And they don't even mention there's a green one. You know what I mean? So that is how they control. They control in what you see and what the vision is. It's very funny, and I do admire it when it's appropriate. Although I'm not falling for that one anymore, Capricorns. All right, so that is where we do our vision questing. So when you add this emotion plus a vision direction, when you send your yellow and your indigo in the same direction, basically I think what happens is in that wherever you point to in reality, wonk wonk, that's where the orange kind of fills in the gap, right? And we come back to the orange. We come back to a 28, which makes a 10. So now the orange is reinforced once again. So let's look at the timing of everything going on and discuss the Mercury retrograde in today's cosmic clock. And here we are with the cosmic clock. People often ask me, Chris, where's the line between free will and where astrology has control over us? And the truth is, I think we have complete free will, but I think if you have signed up to incarnate on Earth, you've already given up some control. I'll give you an example. The Earth is moving 67,000 miles an hour around the sun. So you've elected to have free will on a rock that's swinging around the sun 67,000 miles an hour. On top of that, that rock that's in fast motion is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. So you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour going 67,000 miles an hour that way. Sure, you have total free will. You know what I mean? Like, yes, do anything you want on this spinning rock. But what astrology will tell you is, based on where that spinning ride is, we can tell you where you are on the ride, and we can tell you what's going to come up next, right? So let's look at the timing of things, shall we? The sun today is at step 28. That means it's time to emotionally decide at this point of our little ride what we want to bring into our life. This is the time to plant ideas into Mother Gaia on Earth. And I do believe human beings are planted into the electromagnetic consciousness, and that is part of how people shape and maybe even how chromosomes choose. But it is time to plant consciousness, if you will, Mother Gaia, with what you want to manifest, and that is right now. Now, Mercury, our mind, is going to do a little retrograding. We're going to look over our shoulder. We're going to switch gears in our mind. That means if you're normally a talker, you might now be a listener. If you're normally a listener, you might now be a talker. If you normally hold the joke in, you might want to let it out now. It's all good. And although people say, oh, I hate Mercury retrograde because things always fall apart, one thing I have found that is absolutely true in a retrograde period is that if your phone breaks down and you end up emailing them, that's usually to your benefit somehow. Somehow, it's to your benefit to choose a new method of communication. So give it a try. Sometimes it just throws them off guard. Sometimes they have another minute to talk to you about it or think about it. I mean, we don't know unless we go back and analyze, but I do, being a person who loves to. And I find that often whatever goes wrong is really in your highest good. So just step back and let it go. Now, Mercury's at step 13, which means at this point, we're trying to align beliefs in our thinking. But there's more to the thinking story. Mars, our aggressive side, is at step 5, I think. So Mars is really kind of digging its elbow into our mind right now. So our ego may be having, let's say, a little too much control. I call the ego the dumbass that works for us. So we have a smartass and a dumbass. And you could say that the dumbass right now is putting firecrackers in the smartass's back pocket. You know what I mean? At least that's what goes on in this zany world. So today you might have some issues with that. Your mind might be getting picked on by your ego side. If you go, well, what does that look like when that happens? Well, it looks like you picking on yourself. It looks like you being mean. It looks like you going too far. It means you think about it when you know it's going to hurt you. You push too far. You let yourself push too much. That's your ego wanting satisfaction for other reasons. That's Mars. That's my point. Now, the moon is also in Gemini, so this means that we are feeling all of this electric thought going on. It's like our emotions are kind of feeling the activity. You can hear the walla walla in the room. The moon is in the high degrees of Gemini, which means that we're trying to set a tone for ourselves, and we're trying to settle into a tone. And when I mean tone, I mean intellectual tone, especially as Mercury is shifting gears. But I think all this electric storm going on in our intellect has really to do with the Sun opposing Saturn, which has retrograded now to step 1, that is, where it will be basically opposing this cloud for about 10 days. Now, I have to tell you, Saturn is heading for Scorpio. It's going to retrograde back into Scorpio. In fact, it's going to retrograde to step 28 Scorpio. All right, I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But what this means is that we are retrograding. We're going back also with our beliefs, particularly now as we go back with our mind. So I believe that a lot of the storms going on in our mind is not so much that we're grappling over certain details in our common life right now, but rather that we are grappling with releasing old beliefs that held all these thoughts together, releasing these core beliefs. And so right now, with Saturn at step 1, we're releasing core beliefs that have to do with our heart and how we approach our heart. The very first step, I love. Now, Pluto is still in a strong yod. I think this is an evolution yod, by the way. I think this yod is pointing to an evolution, both of our culture and of ourself. And I think this is radical evolution that is not going to be changed, something that's going to stick for the rest of our lifetime. The Pluto yod is at retrograde step 15. 15.5 is our thoughts, which means right now Pluto is working heavily on our mind, and Pluto has been working on our mind for some time. Now today, Jupiter, which is part of this yod, is at step 15 also. Jupiter was at step 14 just yesterday. So as we move into the retrograde, Jupiter progresses to step 15. As we move into a retrograde of thinking differently, Jupiter, which is the ruler of belief, moves into thought. So thoughts and belief making a lot of love here, basically, as you can see, as we are stirring the pot of our inner consciousness so that we can kind of come out with a new formula. Now this yod says whatever formula it is, it's new decisions, it's new rules. Pluto is in Capricorn, which is the 8, right? So Pluto is saying, hey, it's not just that we're making certain decisions for ourselves and our life, but because Pluto's in Capricorn, this is a different decision policy. This is a different decision outcome. This is a different decision premise, right? Fundamentally from a different perspective. So look for that fundamental today. And don't worry, Mercury's going to be retrograded for a full 3 weeks. It may take 3 weeks to get to that fundamental of what's changing in your rules, because you're getting to a fundamental of what's changing in your beliefs. Now this evolution yod is actually anchored by Venus. And today she's at step 13, which is the re-evolutionary degree of evolution. So today at step 13, it's about accepting new 3, which is accepting new beliefs. Okay? So our feelings in Cancer is kind of what is, allowing us to go back and forth. Our feelings are weighing and measuring on the other side of this yod, whether or not this suits us or not. And so, it's a step 28 day. The 2 is our feelings. See? So literally it is our feelings, the 2 against the 8, Pluto in Capricorn. So the last thing I want to mention is Earth. I don't mention Earth very often, but Earth is one of the planets we calculate in astrology. I believe Earth is the ruling planet of Taurus. We're in Taurus, and today Earth is step 28. That's a natural born step for Earth. Now, where is Earth today? Earth is manifesting. Earth tells us what we're actually concretely kind of harvesting in our life. These are things that we were aiming for 6 months ago. So today we're starting to literally harvest some real dependable emotional boundaries. Step 28 Scorpio is dependable emotional boundaries. So today we're calling in our life boundaries that we can count on. Kind of. Why do I say kind of? Because Saturn, which I talked about, that's going to retrograde in Scorpio, stops at step 28. So basically our beliefs are going to come all the way down. And today, whatever it is you're manifesting for boundaries, I'm just saying there may be one more adjustment, even though today is solid. This is one of the reasons why I said today, this is pretty much the reality we're going to work on for a while. Because once Saturn comes back on this step here later this summer, we may go one more time, you know what, my emotional boundary is actually this. I was being conservative. Or, vice versa. So looking at the Tower of Truth today, the Sun is at step 28. That's a Grandmaster step of Taurus. And as far as I'm concerned, with what I have studied here in step astrology, once you reach the Grandmaster step in the 20s, it's kind of all downhill from there, even though we're moving still another degree up tomorrow. So today is really the final step as far as I'm concerned, and the new moon at step 26 was the decision, which you could have undone and changed by now if you wanted to. Now looking at the Tower of Truth in Gemini, we have 3 big heavenly bodies there. Mercury is turning around and heading back at step 13, and we have Mars at step 5, which is aggravating. So, and we have the moon in the high Gemini. So what this is like I said, an orchestra of energy going on in Gemini. And just be patient with yourself. My greatest advice with all this sort of storm is to observe your thoughts rather than try to ride them like a cowboy. Don't ride them to the end of time. Just observe them right now. We got a lot of thinking to do about how we think. So let's boil this all down in simple terms with today's Joy Quest. Today's Joy Quest, should you choose to accept it, is own it. That's coming from a Taurus, just so you know. Own it. Now, how do you own it? Well, you know how to own it, but how do you call owning it? Well, you know what? The step tells you exactly how you own it. So that's one cool thing about the Grandmaster step. It kind of tells you the secret to the sign. So the secret to being a Taurus is to feel it and decide it's yours. Oh, was that maniacal? I think maybe it's true, but it's true. You just decide. And Tauruses do that with partners, like she's mine. Like we just decide. We decide it's ours. We just get real Capricorn stubborn about it, and we decide, and we own it. All right? Now, I don't think you should decide to own something else like another human life. That's never worked out for me. I am single, after all. But I am saying that when I want to manifest something into my life, I own it. So I feel what it is I want to manifest, and I decide that it's mine. I own it. It's mine. I feel it. I decide. And you just sit on that like an egg. Now, if you're watched over by my personal Sensei network, where I personally coach you through the day and try to keep your bright light brighter, at 9:09, I'll be talking about what you need to own today in your life. So remind you what you need to own in your daily life. At 11:11, we'll talk about what you're going to be rethinking in this Mercury retrograde. I'm going to tell you what you're going to be rethinking in your daily, day-to-day life And at 3:03 p.m., I'm going to talk about what you're rethinking in your big long-term picture. So giving you a full scope of the Mercury retrograde. Hey, if you'd like to join my personal sensei network, it's just $19.95. It's based on your time of birth. We draw a full chart, all this data, and I would text you 5 to 7 times a day to make you smile. So give it a try. Come on down to SiriusStory.me and see what all the fun is about. So let's take a look at today's telepathy. Okay, I totally get away with any tongue ties during Mercury retrograde. See, I get away with it because I can just say Mercury retrograde. We're going to continue with our Taurus quest here. We're going to just go to the bitter, and I'm a Taurus. I'm not abandoning the theme. You know, I've decided that I'm going to do this. And today we're going to do Taurus heavies. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see these guys. These all play Taurus heavies. Which Taurus heavy do I have in my mind right now going to yours? Is it number 1, Harvey Keitel, number 2, Al Pacino, or number 3, Jack Nicholson? Which of these Taurus heavies are heavy on my mind? I'll have the answer right after this.
Why can't you find love? How long have you really been single? Really? Having trouble finding that special soulmate? I can solve this one. Secrets of Birthdays, now live for purchase. Your love trouble? Over. All that and more at secretsofbirthdays.com.
And welcome back to Namaste Today. So, for the answer to today's telepathy from my temple to yours, I was beaming to you one of these Taurus heavy hitters as an actor. Which was it? Was it Harvey Keitel, number 1, number 2, Al Pacino, number 3, Jack Nicholson? And the answer is Jack Nicholson. All three of those gentlemen are awesome indeed, but Jack Nicholson is my favorite. Well, you know what? Turns out Jack Nicholson is a step 1 Taurus. What's step 1? I love. The secret is loving himself, like a Leo. And that's the thing. You do love Jack Nicholson. He loves himself, so we love him. We love him if he's killing his wife in The Shining. We love him if he's the Joker killing Batman. We always love him, even if he's a total asshole astronaut in terms of endearment. You know what I mean? Like, we always love this guy. It doesn't matter. So it's the step 1. That's the magic sauce in my opinion. So on to today's rock and roll gospel. I am doing some cool retrograde rock and roll gospel. Right now we're looking at Jupiter retrograde that we have on the record player. And Jupiter retrograde back to the last time Jupiter was in Leo. So I'm playing songs that are from the last time Jupiter was in Leo, so you can call it up in your head. And this one was definitely one that was being played over and over and over again. It is Christine Aguilera's Beautiful. Remember this song? Christine Aguilera, by the way, is a master, step 26 Sagittarius. So this woman has a message and she knows exactly what she's doing. But I can remember, this will take you back to that summer when Jupiter was in Leo, man. This song was playing every single time you're on the radio. And it was like I was being told to remind myself I was beautiful, which I have to say, at the time when Jupiter was in Leo, I needed to hear, right? So awesome how things take off like that. So, hey, take a listen to this song and also listen and remember the last time you were in Jupiter and Leo and whether or not you chose your heart or not. But before you realize you're beautiful, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today and a special soul vitamin. Today's soul vitamin is sponsored by Mercury retrograde. We're going to look at what you're rethinking over the next 3 weeks. What is it that you will be rethinking? And do keep in mind in that rethinking that behind that rethinking there is a belief that is changing. Hey, I'll give you one little interesting little tip here about the 11 steps of Sirius Joy. If you want to know how each state of awareness is doing, well, in step 0, whatever's going on for Scorpios is what everyone's defenses are like today. Whatever's going on for Leos is what everyone's love is like today. So if you want to know how the planet is doing, you just look at each of the steps, and that is how everyone is starting off. So human beings embody these steps, and by embodying them, they enforce them, and that is where your free will as a collective will actually shift and change the planet. Cool stuff, eh? So let's look at the steps going on today in the 11 steps of Sirius Joy, starting with the secret step, step 0. Scorpio, sunny and private today. But over the next 3 weeks, you'll be rethinking your personal boundaries. So these are personal comfort zones over topics. That's you and people, you and this, you and that, you and anything. Step 1, the Leos, sunny and social today. You are rethinking your social reputation over the next 3 weeks, who you want to be seen and what title you want to take. Step 2, the Cancers, cloudy and private reserved today. Over the next 3 weeks, you'll be rethinking what inner faith really is and what compassion to yourself really means. Step 3, the Sagittarius is sunny and sentimental today, but over the next 3 weeks, you'll be thinking about long-term partnerships and what you want next. Step 4, the Aquarius is sunny and childlike. You'll be rethinking love, personal dreams, and issues with children. Step 5, the Geminis, sunny and cool with the moon in their sign. And over the next 3 weeks, Mercury's in your sign, so you'll be rethinking who you are and what your behavior should be next, what you should act like. Step 6, the Librans, sunny and passionate today. You are rethinking life purpose and where this whole ship is heading anyways. Step 7, the Pisces, sunny nesting and resting today. And you are rethinking over the next 3 weeks what qualifies as emotional security. Step 8, the Capricorns, sunny and hyperactive today, I think, in their own skin. You are rethinking what health and a good lifestyle is over the next 3 weeks. Step 9, the Aries, sunny and super sharp today. You'll be rethinking your mind games, your mindset, and your attitude in the next 3 weeks. Step 10, the Tauruses, sunny and manifesting in a big, grand Taurus way. But you are rethinking finances, so you're rethinking how you manifest. So that's pretty deep, but true in the next 3 weeks. And then step 11, the Virgos, sunny and professional today. And you are rethinking your career and what you want your legacy to be in the next 3 weeks. So moving on to the Lightwalker Parade, I just want to say that today was sponsored by Love. And the special letter of the day is 0 or O, the letter O. But it also is 0. It's a double whammy there. And I want to invite you to take a look at Modern Mommies. If you want to take a look at issues through the eyes of people that raise children, come on down. We talk Tesla batteries and medical marijuana in Texas, a very conservative state. And this week's topic in the Psychic Lounge, take a psychic look at this picture and tell me what you think is going on. This is taking our telepathy to the next level. What's your gut check? Come on down to namastetoday.club. And remember, I totally love you. I totally appreciate you. And remember to own it today. I'll see you in 24 hours with more, my friend. Remember to live, love, be.
This is just so ironic.